I would even say that now you could take core WordPress experience and say, that's my low-end customer with air quotes, and my high-end customer is built with bricks. Is how I might approach it if I were running an agency today. I don't know if you look at it that way. Like, here's this customer set, I use bricks. Here's this customer set, I just use a super lightweight instance of 2024.
There's definitely an argument to be made with using different platforms, different page builder, different platform, different builder, whatever you want to say. You know, like you just said, they're core for one segment of your audience, and then bricks for another segment of your audience as far as your customer base. Personally, I've always liked the idea of doing it with one builder because it was simple. It was one thing to manage. Like, I didn't need to think of new Gutenberg feature block core editor thing, and then like over here I need to also monitor bricks. It's hard enough to be like deep into one enough to like know when the things are coming out, all the new features and everything like that. But it's definitely possible. The one thing that I would say to kind of like slightly go back and interject into the thoughts is, I know CEOs of bigger agencies, and again, depending on what your goals are, they don't even know what builder they don't know anything about the builders that they're using. So at a certain point, it becomes to not matter. But if we're talking about people that are just kind of starting and trying to pick, I don't want to say there's like a right or a wrong answer, because a lot of times what's literally going to happen, and again, as my story said, like, I ran into an issue based on what I wanted to do. I might have been able to make 5-page websites using Elementor, because there's definitely people out there that are just using whatever page builder, not even watching videos like mine, or not even involved in the community. They're just doing WordPress stuff, and they are making a ton of money, like just spitting out websites, and good for them. As long as they're ethical and all that sort of stuff, like good for them. So, at a certain point, I don't know if there's really a right or a wrong answer, but if you are going to actually dig into this, make some considerations, going back on what you said about enterprise and putting it on quickly, perhaps. I mean, there's no way to tell the future that something like that's going to happen. There may be signs along the way or something, perhaps. I'm not talking specifically about quickly. I'm just talking about anybody. But I don't know if anything's really too big to fail, nowadays. I mean, anything, like especially with AI and all these other things that we could talk about ad nauseum, there's so much disruption that is on the horizon. I think the biggest thing that I've decided that I want to prioritize is the ability to be able to adapt. Like, I love bricks right now. I love WordPress and everything, but I want to make sure that I'm still able to, just for my own sanity, be able to learn, like that's why I try to learn, try and share everything I do, is because I'm trying to make sure that people don't forget that. They don't get set in their ways and they're using everything like quickly, as an example again, and then the rug gets pulled from under them. Obviously it's a shitty situation, but you got to be able to hopefully take the core skills and then apply that to a different tool in some way. Obviously you have to learn new UI, UX and all that. But I mean, there's a lot of considerations to kind of take in, like you said, the size of the team, the maturity of the product, the size of the ecosystem, size of the community. We can dig into more of those if you want, but that's kind of the high level, what I've experienced so far and what I've seen just being in the community.
When I started my podcast, Matt Report, dating back many, many years ago, I had a segment called, "What are we going to do about the $500 website client?" It seems like those problems might still exist over a decade later. Before we get to that, let's just say hi to Marcio, Shanto, Max, Peter. Always good to see you, Peter. Shanto again. Carapace, I hope I said that name right. And that's it. Thanks everybody for joining. If you have questions, drop them in the comments and we'll try to answer them. Have you seen, since you're boots on the ground running a services business, are people coming to you now, customers coming to you now saying, "Hey, I used Elementor, I tried building this myself, I can't do this," or are people still, "I don't even know, somebody said WordPress and I should talk to you"? Like, what level are people coming into you these days? Do they have WordPress experience, no WordPress experience? They tried it with Elementor. What's it look like?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm the best person to kind of answer it. Just with my agency, I'm trying to target people that definitely have had websites and they're looking for like their rebuilds. They're looking for their level up, because I feel like that's something that I can provide now with the stack that I'm on. What I do get a lot of, though, is, it's just like friends, acquaintances, word of mouth stuff, is that I get people that think, "Hey, can you build outside of the WordPress environment?" And that's a whole, maybe we get into it a little bit with the core talk and everything, the marketing surrounding that. That I feel like is a real, I have some strong opinions on that. I feel like that's that if I'm looking at WordPress 50,000 foot view, that's concerning to me, because we have such a large lead on everyone because of all the wonderful work that everybody, Matt Mullenweg and everybody has done over the years, that like, I don't want to see that go away. You know what I mean? I don't want to see that gap get closed with a Webflow or a Shopify or Squarespace or Wix or whatever. But the trouble is that I see is that, and I'm not saying I have an actual solution to this, it'd just be a cool conversation, is that the common person, if you ask them how to build a website, I don't know if they're going to say WordPress. So to answer your question, I don't get a lot of people that come to me and say, hey, I tried with WordPress. Can you do it? I actually get a lot of people that say, hey, can you build in Squarespace or Wix or whatever? I'm like, no, I don't really want, that's not really where I play. And then you have to go through the whole thing of educating. So I feel like that's part of what I want to do with my content too. A lot of people that follow me to this point know about WordPress and they're in that camp. But if you start to expand, if you start to go outside your social circles of just this community, that's, I think, another big opportunity, is trying to rein people back and be like, hey, I know that you had a really bad, weird experience in 2015 with WordPress, but I'm telling you, it's way different now. And it's way different if you know somebody that actually knows how to use it rather than, just tinkering around with it, on your free time. So I don't, that's kind of where I'm at with it. I don't have a lot of people saying, like, hey, I broke my WordPress website. Here it is. Occasionally you'll get that. But yeah, it's honestly, I think it's more exterior, factors that are kind of starting to play in from the agency side a little bit. That's at least my experience.